before the first breath of creation stirred the silent expanse, before light carved its first trembling path through the deep. There was only the infinite stillness of God's presence waiting to speak a world into being. And in that sacred pause between nothingness and everything, the universe leaned toward. His voice with an expectancy that still echoes in every soul longing to remember the one who called all things into existence. In the beginning, when there was no sky to hold a sunrise and no earth to cradle a single grain of dust, the deep stretched out like an endless, unbroken mystery, a vast and formless shadow waiting for the touch of purpose. Darkness rested over the surface of the waters, thick and ancient, as if guarding the secret of what had not yet been revealed. Yet even in that darkness, something moved with quiet authority, for the Spirit of God hovered over the waters, not as a distant observer, but as a presence close enough to feel the tremble of the deep beneath him. There was no sound, no wind, no movement, except the gentle, sovereign stirring of the Spirit, preparing creation for the first word that would shatter the silence. Then, with a voice that carried the weight of eternity and the tenderness of a father shaping a home for his children, God spoke light into existence, and the darkness recoiled as brilliance flooded the void. Light did not argue or hesitate. It simply obeyed, rushing forward to fill the emptiness with radiance that had never been seen before. God separated the light from the darkness, naming the light day and the darkness night, establishing the first rhythm of time, a rhythm that would one day cradle human lives, human stories, and human prayers. And as the first day came to rest, creation itself seemed to breathe for the very first time, awakening under the gaze of the one who formed it. In this moment of awe, let your heart linger, and if this unfolding journey speaks to you, share it so others may step into this wonder with us. On the second day, the water still stretched in every direction, a boundless ocean without horizon or shore. Yet God looked upon this unshaped world with intention, seeing not chaos but the raw material of beauty waiting to be ordered. With a word, he called forth an expanse to separate the waters below from the waters above. And the sky unfolded like a vast blue canopy, stretching wide and open, a space where clouds would one day gather and storms would one day roar, and rain would one day fall gently upon the earth he was preparing. The waters beneath the sky churned and settled, responding to the command of the one who held them in his hands. And the heavens took their place as a reminder that God creates not only substance, but structure, not only existence, but harmony. On the third day, his voice moved again across the waters, calling the seas to gather into their boundaries so that dry ground could appear, and the earth rose from beneath the deep like a promise emerging from hiddenness. God named the dry ground earth and the gathered waters seas, and the world began to take shape with contours and textures, valleys and ridges, places where life would one day flourish. Then, as if preparing the earth like a table set for guests not yet arrived, it commanded vegetation to spring forth grasses, plants, and trees, each bearing seeds according to their kind, each carrying within them the mystery of multiplication. The earth responded with abundance, covering its once barren surface with color, its fragrance, and the quiet hum of growing things. And as creation blossomed under his word, the story began to shift from the vastness of cosmic formation to the intimate care of a God preparing a home, inviting us to move from witnessing his power to sensing his nearness, a transition that opens our hearts to prayer. Father, as we stand before the unfolding of these first days, we feel the weight of your intentionality, the way you shaped the heavens and the earth, not with haste, but with purpose, crafting order from the deep and beauty from the unformed. We remember that nothing in creation emerged by accident, and so we bring before you the places in our own lives that feel formless, the waters that feel too deep, the shadows that feel too heavy. Just as your Spirit hovered over the ancient waters, hover over us now, drawing near to the places we cannot fix, the moments we cannot control, the uncertainties we cannot name. Speak light into the corners of our hearts where darkness has lingered too long, and let your voice separate truth from confusion, peace from fear, hope from despair. As you stretched out the sky and carved space for life to flourish, stretch out your presence over us, creating room for healing, clarity, and renewal. Gather the scattered pieces of our lives the way you gathered the seas, and let dry ground appear where we thought nothing stable could ever rise again. Plant within us the seeds of new beginnings, seeds that carry the promise of growth even when we cannot yet see their fruit. And in this quiet moment, let our souls rest in the assurance that the same God who shaped the first days of creation is shaping us still, with the same patience, the same power, and the same love. If this prayer is stirring something deep within you, let your heart respond in whatever way draws you closer to Him. On the fourth day, creation shifted once more as God spoke into the heavens, calling forth lights to govern the rhythms of day and night, to mark seasons and years, to anchor time itself in the steady movements of sun, moon, and stars. The great light took its place to rule the day, pouring warmth and brilliance across the earth, while the lesser light rose to rule the night, casting a gentler glow that softened the darkness without erasing it. Countless stars scattered across the sky like declarations of His infinite imagination, each one placed with intention, each one a reminder that nothing in creation was random or forgotten. The heavens became a canvas of divine order, a tapestry woven with precision and beauty, guiding the world through cycles of light and shadow, growth and rest, beginnings and endings. On the fifth day, His voice moved again, summoning life into the waters and the sky. And the seas erupted with movement as creatures of every shape and size surged into existence, while the air filled with the beating of wings as birds soared through the expanse He had formed. The world was no longer silent. It pulsed with vitality, with color, with sound, with the joy of life responding to its Maker. And in this unfolding wonder, we sense the invitation to lift our hearts in gratitude, to let awe soften the places where we have grown numb, and to share this moment so others may remember the God who fills creation with glory. Lord, as we reflect on the days when You filled the heavens with light and the earth with living creatures, we recognize the depth of Your wisdom and the tenderness of Your design. You did not simply create a world that functions. You created a world that sings, a world that reflects Your beauty in every sunrise, every star, every wing beat, every wave. And so we come before You with the parts of our lives that feel dim or directionless, asking You to place lights within our darkness, just as You placed the sun and moon in the sky. Illuminate the paths we cannot see, steady the rhythms we have lost, and guide us through the seasons we do not yet understand. As You filled the waters and the skies with life, breathe life into the places within us that feel empty or forgotten. Let new movements stir where stagnation has settled. Let new hope rise where disappointment has lingered, and let new joy take flight where heaviness has weighed us down. Shape our hearts to recognize Your presence in the ordinary patterns of our days, in the quiet moments, in the unseen mercies, in the gentle reminders that You are still creating, still sustaining, still renewing. And as we open ourselves to Your work, let our spirits respond with trust, knowing that the God who filled the world with wonder is more than able to fill our lives with grace. If this prayer is awakening something within you, let that stirring become a quiet offering to Him. On the sixth day, creation reached its crescendo as God called forth living creatures to roam the land, beasts of strength, creatures of gentleness, animals that would run, crawl, leap, and rest upon the earth He had shaped. The land came alive with movement, with breath, with the pulse of life responding to His command. Yet even this abundance was not the final expression of His intention, for God then formed humanity, shaping man from the dust of the ground and breathing into him the breath of life. In that sacred moment, humanity became more than creation. Humanity became image-bearers, reflections of the divine heart entrusted with stewardship, relationship, and purpose. God blessed them, calling them to multiply, to cultivate, to care for the world He had made. And in his blessing, he revealed his desire not merely to create life, but to share life. The world stood complete, vibrant, and whole, crowned with the presence of those made to walk with him. And as we stand before this moment, sensing the weight of being known and formed by the same God who shaped galaxies and oceans, let your heart pause in reverence, and if this journey is drawing you deeper into his presence, let that quiet pull be shared so others may be drawn as well. Father, as we meditate on the day you formed humanity from the dust and breathed life into our lungs, we remember that we are not accidents of existence, but intentional creations shaped by your hands and sustained by your breath. We bring before you the parts of ourselves that feel unworthy, the places where we have forgotten our identity, the moments when we have doubted our value. Remind us that your image rests upon us, not because of what we have achieved, but because of who you are. Teach us to walk in the dignity you bestowed upon humanity from the beginning, to carry ourselves with the quiet confidence of those who belong to you, as you entrusted the first humans with purpose. Entrust us again with clarity, direction, and courage. Let us steward our relationships, our responsibilities, and our inner lives with the same reverence you showed when you shaped us. Breathe into us once more, renewing what has grown weary, restoring what has been broken, awakening what has fallen asleep. Let your presence settle upon us like the first breath you gave, filling us with life that is not our own but yours. And as we rest in this truth, let our hearts rise in gratitude for the God who formed us, knows us, and continues to shape us with unending love. As creation came to rest under the blessing of its Maker, the world stood complete, held together by the same voice that still speaks life into every weary soul. And as we linger in the echo of those first days, may your heart find peace in the God who formed all things with intention and formed you with care. And if this journey has drawn you closer to his presence, share it so others may be invited into the same quiet wonder.